Welcome to Lesson 10 in my series on Gabriel music notation. And these lessons are designed to help you learn to read music in minutes instead of months. As if any of you have taken piano lessons, you know that you don't learn how to read scales with 5, 6, or 7 sharps or flats until you are in your 3rd or 4th year. Whereas with Gabriel notation, you only have to learn 12 note and staff conjunctions to read all of music. And how long will that take? Maybe 10, 15 minutes at the most. For example, here is a D scale, which is what we will be looking at today. And there are only 8 notes in the scale up to the octave. And there are only a few more notes to have all the notes in a chromatic scale. And that's all you need to learn. And of course, there are many other advantages to Gabriel notation. The black keys are indicated by black notes. The staffs are analogous. In other words, the notes in the treble clef read the same as the notes in the bass clef. And as I say, you only have to learn to read 12 note and staff conjunctions. So let's start with lesson number 10. On the left, we have D major scale in traditional notation, and on the right, D major scale in Gabriel notation. And as usual, in traditional notation, the notes are basically the same as the C major scale. In other words, the white notes. And in order to indicate any sharps or flats, there must be either a key signature showing 2 sharps in this case, or the sharp must be indicated before the particular note. In this case, F must be sharped and C must be sharped. The notation shows an F and a C, but those are not the notes you play. And of course, the advantage with Gabriel notation is that the black keys are indicated by the black notes on the staff. You don't have to adjust any white key. You can tell right away which are the white keys and which are the black keys with Gabriel notation. So let's check out the fingering. The D scale starts with the thumb on a D, and this is middle D, and that is the very easy to find on both the keyboard and on Gabriel notation. D is the white note between the 2 black keys. And of course, in traditional notation, the location for D, just like all of the notes, varies all over because it starts at the lower part of the treble clef, at the space below the staff. The D next above it is located on the 2nd line below the top of the staff. In the bass clef, D is found in the middle of the staff and on the 2nd space above the staff. And it changes throughout the 88 key keyboard. Whereas in Gabriel notation, there are only 12 locations for each note in the chromatic scale, and they do not change throughout the 88 keys. In this case, you can see D is located between the 2 staff lines, which are farther apart. So let's check out the fingering. The thumb, 1st finger, 2nd finger, 3rd finger for F sharp, thumb under, 1, 2, 3, 4, C sharp, 5. And of course, in reverse, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3 over, 3, 2, 1. And in the bass clef, which would be way down here, starting with your 5th finger, little finger, 5, 4, 3 for the black key, 2, 1, crossover for the B, 3, 2, 1. And going back in just reverse, 1, 2, 3, thumb under, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So going up the scales, the next scale ascending would be following D major would be E flat major. And we see very similar situation with the traditional notation versus Gabriel notation. Once again, Every note is the same as the white keys on a piano. In other words, that's the same as the C major scale. Therefore, if you want to show black keys, you must show either, in this case, 3 flats in the signature or a flat sign in front of each key. And once again, notice that these notes change throughout. In other words, E is located here at the bottom line in the treble clef. Here it's located in the bass clef, the line below the clef. And this E is located at the top space of the treble clef. And in the bass clef, it's the second space down. And of course, with Gabriel notation, it doesn't change. That location, which is a black key, that is E flat, is the same location, whether in the treble clef or in the bass clef. And as you can see, there are 3 flats. And just by glancing at the scale, you can tell which are the black keys and which are the white keys. Notice that the black shape is a little different than the sharp shape, although it's very obvious which are black keys and which are white keys. The difference between the black flat shape and the black sharp shape is only there for instruments that can distinguish between a flat and a sharp. In the piano, it really doesn't matter because of equal temperament. So let's begin with E flat. And of course, we start on E flat, but since it's a black key, it would not be played normally with the thumb. So we start with the second finger, then thumb under for the F. 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the black keys. Thumb under for the C. 2, 2, 3. And of course the reverse on the way back. 3, 2, 1. Fourth finger over. 4, 3, 2, 1, 2. And in the bass clef, you start with your third finger on the E flat. 3, 2, 1. Fourth finger over. 4, 3, 2, 1, 3. And going back the same way. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, thumb under, 1, 2, 3. Now I mentioned there are slight variations between the various note heads to indicate sharps and flats, and also double sharps and flats. I made a chart. There are more than 12 note heads to remember because of time signatures. And I will put this chart on my website. And in fact, all of the scales that we are talking about on these programs can be found on my website, as well as 96 pages of music already transcribed into Gabriel notation. And if you feel up to it, by all means, try practicing some of those pieces. You don't have to wait for the rest of the class. This program is geared for pure beginners, and I know many of you may not be beginners. I think you will enjoy learning how to play the easiest notation of all, and that is Gabriel music notation.